Welcome to Drivewell. What to do when you are concerned about an older driver. By the end of this presentation by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, you will know more about the warning signs of unsafe driving to watch for in an older driver. You will also learn steps you can take if you are worried about an older driver. First, let's look at some trends. Are older drivers safe drivers? You cannot tell if a person is a safe driver based on his or her age alone. Older adults have fewer total crashes than other age groups. When you compare the number of crashes adults ages 20 to 45 years old have to the number of crashes adults over age 65 have, you will notice that the younger age groups have more crashes. Older adults are also less likely to drive under the influence of alcohol. But adults have a higher risk of injury or death in a crash after age 65. And your risk increases as you advance through the older age groups. So, an 85-year-old person has a higher risk than a 65-year-old person. According to the CDC, in 2010, motor vehicle crashes were the fourth leading cause of injury for adults age 65 and older, and the second leading cause of injury-related deaths of adults age 65 and older. Older drivers suffer more serious injuries when they have a crash because their bodies are more fragile. Let's talk about a common myth. Older adults need to stop driving when they reach age 75. This myth is false. Age alone does not make a person a safe or unsafe driver. Safe driving is determined not by age, but whether you are still physically and mentally fit. This means you can still move your body enough to maneuver the car and to fully scan for traffic around you. This also means your mind is sharp enough to make fast decisions required in driving, and that you are able to make smart choices about when and where you drive. Safe driving also depends on your car. If your car is well maintained, you will have a vehicle that is safe to operate. If your car is fit to your body, you will have an easier time maneuvering it. If you are concerned about an older person's driving, here are some signs to look for. Take a look at the older person's car. Do you see any dents or scrapes that might indicate accidents? Also look at their home. Do you see any dents along the garage, fence, or mailbox that might indicate trouble maneuvering the car? Next, ask the older person to drive you somewhere. While he or she is driving, pay attention for these signs. Is it hard for him to shift his body and turn around when driving in reverse, checking rear and side view mirrors, or when scanning traffic to merge or change lanes? These can be signs of movement problems. Is she slow to notice any unexpected situations on the road? This can be a sign of vision or cognitive problems. By the time you reach your 70s and 80s, you can lose as much as 30% of your peripheral field of vision, or what you can see to the side of where you are focusing. Does she have slow reactions when responding to these situations? According to the AAA, the average driver makes about 20 major decisions during each mile driven, and often has less than 1/2 second to react to avoid a potential collision. Older adults tend to have slower motor reflexes and reaction times due to less strength, coordination, flexibility, or even sometimes slower speeds of thought. Does he seem unaware of the flow of traffic around him? Does he seem to ignore how his driving might be affecting other drivers? These can be signs of vision or cognitive problems. Does she have trouble deciding when to advance into a left-hand turn? Studies of senior-involved crashes have found that failure to yield the right-of-way, especially at an intersection or making a left-hand turn, is the most common error among seniors. In a 2007 Insurance Institute for Highway Safety study of drivers at fault in intersection crashes, drivers aged 70 to 79 were more likely to misjudge whether there was enough time to proceed into the turn. Drivers aged 80 and older predominantly failed to see the other vehicle. Does he have trouble moving his foot from the gas to the brake pedal and clutch? Does he ever confuse the gas and brake pedal and step on the wrong pedal? These can be signs of movement or cognitive problems. Does she have trouble seeing and obeying traffic signals? Does she seem to have trouble reading the road signs and pavement markers? This can be a sign of problems with the driver's vision or with the driver's cognitive abilities. Does he misjudge how much space and time he has to merge into traffic or change lanes? This can be a sign of problems with vision or cognitive abilities. Does she have any close calls or narrowly avoid a crash? Have any of his or her neighbors or friends said to you that they are concerned about your loved one's driving? Ask your loved one if he or she has had any changes to his or her insurance policy and rates. An increased insurance premium may be a sign of an increase in crashes and claims. Ask if the police have issued any traffic citations to your loved one. Many health conditions common among older adults can affect a person's ability to drive. These include arthritis, a stroke, Parkinson's disease, diabetes, vision disorders, and Alzheimer's disease. Watch these short videos to learn more. Severe arthritis, which makes your joints swollen and stiff, is a very common problem for older adults. Arthritis can make it hard for you to get into and out of your car. Arthritis in your hands, shoulders, or back can make it harder to put on your seatbelt. It can also make it difficult to hold and turn the steering wheel. Arthritis in your neck can make driving risky. You may have difficulty maneuvering in traffic because you cannot turn your head to effectively check your blind spots. A driving rehabilitation specialist can evaluate your driving and may be able to recommend adaptations to your vehicle that will make it easier and safer to drive. If you take medications to help with the pain of arthritis, be aware that they could make you drowsy and could prevent you from driving safely. Work with your healthcare provider to manage your arthritis so you can stay active and safe. A stroke can cause many problems. Some are temporary and some are permanent. Many of the problems make driving more difficult. When we drive, we must react and move quickly. People who have had a stroke may have more difficulty moving their bodies in time to prevent a crash. Their vision might be affected. Their thinking may be slower, or they may be more impulsive than they were before the stroke. This driver has the use of only one arm to manage the steering wheel and the other controls in the car. This can create an unsafe situation. Strokes can also lead to problems with vision and the ability to think clearly. While most drivers would see this oncoming vehicle, a person with a stroke might be only able to see this much of the situation. Unless he knows this and learns to adapt, he could cause a crash. A stroke can also slow down a driver's ability to make decisions quickly when on the road. Sometimes, a driving rehabilitation specialist can make adaptations to your vehicle to allow for safe driving after a stroke. She may also be able to teach you strategies to accommodate changes in your thinking or vision. Some limitations cannot be overcome with rehabilitation. Talk with your family and your healthcare provider and plan ahead in case weakness, paralysis, or cognitive changes make driving unsafe after a stroke. The car is only one way to get around. Stay safe for yourself and for others on the road. Parkinson's disease changes the way your body moves. It can cause extra movements or tremors. It can also make a person's body very slow to move or react. You may find it hard to move after you've been still for a while. Parkinson's can also cause short-term memory loss or problems with clear thinking, and can cause you to confuse basic rules of the road. It can affect your ability to judge the space between objects, such as the car in front of you, or a car parked next to you. The medicines used to treat Parkinson's disease can cause problems such as sleepiness, blurry vision, memory loss, or confusion. If you notice any of these side effects, make sure you discuss them with your healthcare provider. A driving rehabilitation specialist can help you identify how Parkinson's disease affects your driving.
Just a little bit faster than that.
This specialist may be able to recommend adaptations to your vehicle that can make driving easier and safer for you. As the disease progresses, driving may become too dangerous to continue. Talk with your family about your transportation options. Plan ahead for a time when driving may no longer be possible. The car is only one way to get around. Stay safe for yourself and for others on the road. Most drivers with diabetes are safe drivers, but some complications from diabetes can make driving less safe. Unfortunately, many people are unaware of the subtle but dangerous changes that can affect their driving. Sudden drops or spikes in blood sugar can make a person sleepy or confused. Diabetes can damage your vision. Diabetes can also lead to loss of sensation in hands and feet. A driving rehabilitation specialist can help you identify how diabetes affects your driving. This specialist may be able to recommend adaptations to your car that can make driving easier and safer for you. As the disease progresses, driving may become too dangerous to continue. Talk with your family and your healthcare provider about your transportation options. Plan ahead for a time when driving may no longer be possible. The car is only one way to get around. Stay safe for yourself and for others on the road. Changes in our eyesight as we grow older affect how well we can drive. 3 eye diseases common among older adults: cataracts, glaucoma, and macular degeneration make it hard to drive safely. Cataracts can make your vision dull and blurry, making it hard to see lane markers, pedestrians, or traffic lights. Glare from bright sunlight and oncoming headlights can be very difficult to manage. Glaucoma affects what you can see from the sides of your eyes, what is called your peripheral vision. While most drivers would see this oncoming vehicle, a person with glaucoma might only be able to see this much of the situation. Macular degeneration affects what you can see in the center of your field of vision. The middle of any scene will appear blurry or even blank, which makes it difficult to see cars directly in front of you. Make sure you get your eyes checked at least once each year. If you have concerns about your eyesight or have already been diagnosed with an eye disorder, your eye doctor may recommend checkups more often. You should always wear your corrective lenses if your driver's license says you should. You can also work with your Department of Motor Vehicles to make sure your vision meets legal requirements for driving.
Forehead and read line number 4.
Prescription drugs can cause side effects that impact driving, such as drowsiness, confusion, or blurry vision. Healthcare providers are not always aware of all the medications a person takes. Make sure your loved one takes a complete list of medications to all appointments with his or her medical providers. Many medications can interact with each other and cause more side effects. A drowsy driver can start to fall asleep at the wheel and cause a crash. If you find yourself feeling drowsy behind the wheel, find a safe place to pull over and take a break. Talk with your healthcare provider about drowsiness or any other side effects you may have from your medications. A diagnosis of dementia or Alzheimer's disease does not mean your loved one must immediately hang up their keys. But as the dementia gets worse, they will have to. Driving is an important part of independent living for most older adults. But Alzheimer's disease and other serious forms of dementia can make driving unsafe. A person who is confused about where he is can be unpredictable to other drivers, causing dangerous situations on the road. Confused drivers may take the wrong cues from the cars around them. Instead of obeying the red light, this driver mistakenly follows the car next to him. Drivers with memory loss may forget the most basic rules of the road. As the disease progresses, driving will become too dangerous to continue. Talk with your family and your healthcare provider about your transportation options. Plan ahead for a time when driving is no longer possible. The car is only one way to get around. Stay safe for yourself and for others on the road. Accidents increase in proportion to the severity of a person's dementia. Here are some signs that dementia is making driving unsafe. Ask to ride along while your loved one drives. Does he get lost even though he is in a familiar place? Does she forget where she is going or why she is driving? Is he easily distracted? Does he seem to have trouble concentrating on the task of driving? Is she quick to show anger towards other drivers and blame other drivers for her mistakes? Do other drivers seem annoyed by her driving, honking at her, or changing lanes to get away from her car? Does he ignore traffic signals, for example, running red lights or stop signs? Does he drive much slower or faster than the pace of traffic around him? Trust your instincts and pay attention to what you have observed. If you think your loved one is becoming an unsafe driver, you need to talk with him or her. This is not an easy conversation to have. In a 2008 survey from the National Safety Council, adult children said they would rather talk to their parents about funeral plans than about taking away their car keys. But, in research conducted by the Hartford Insurance Group and the MIT Age Lab, older drivers said they would most prefer their spouse or adult children to speak with them about their driving. Here are some tips that may make the conversation a little easier. Let your loved one know how much you care about him or her. Express your care and concern for his well-being. Emphasize the importance of her own safety, as well as the safety of the public. Remind him that driving is a privilege earned and maintained by showing he can safely drive. Driving is not a right. Share any warning signs you noticed when she was driving you. Talk about any physical limitations you have observed. Talk about moving from the driver's seat to the passenger seat. Before you talk, make an action plan you can share with the older driver. Think about limitations on driving that may keep the driver safe, such as no longer driving on highways or at night. As you talk about the plan, include the driver in any decision-making. Consider obtaining a professional driving evaluation. A professional evaluation with a driving rehabilitation specialist, or DRS, can help a person decide whether or not driving is still a safe option.
Just like you did before when you see the red light.
The goal of the driving rehabilitation specialist is to keep drivers safely behind the wheel whenever possible. When you first meet with the DRS, she will conduct driving assessments to observe your reaction speeds, judgment, planning, and maneuvering of a vehicle. Once the testing is finished, the DRS can make a plan that may include adaptive devices for your vehicle. The DRS will choose equipment that is compatible with your vehicle, and over the course of several sessions, train you how to use it. A driving rehabilitation specialist will also help you develop strategies to help you cope with vision or cognitive impairments. A qualified mobility equipment dealer should install any equipment the DRS recommends. Some states require that your driver's license note any adaptive devices on your vehicle. Not every health problem can be overcome with vehicle adaptations. Eventually, you may reach a point where it is no longer safe to drive. A DRS can help you make that decision.
Since we're not sure if you will be able to use.
Research a list of other transportation options to meet your loved one's needs, such as getting to doctor's appointments, errands, and social events. What should you do if your loved one will not limit his or her driving? If you think there is a real safety risk, consider talking to your loved one's healthcare provider. You may also be able to file an unsafe driver report directly with your state's driver licensing authority. The DMV or MVA might then start an official assessment of your loved one's driver fitness. Older adults can remain safe drivers, but may need adjustments or limitations to where and when they can drive. Be aware of any warning signs and have an alternate transportation plan. Thank you.